I just learned that everybody's running. Everybody's running for their dreams, but they're slowing me down. They're taking our time. They're taking our time. They're gonna use you up in time. So now you've got to dream loud, dream loud. Who do you want to be? Dream loud, dream loud. Who do you want to talk to when you're alone? You're alone. Who do you want to please when you leave this world? Bad days turns into good.
Trust me, gay is in, gay is hot. I want some gay, gay it's gonna be. Trust me.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Now I know in the description I said Heather was going to be here, but we had a little bit of a puppy emergency. Heather has to, well, she'll explain in a little bit, but I'm here to explain how things have been going and read to you a big win for me. Okay, this is the right path. This is the path that I'm supposed to be on. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. Aha moment. Because I'm turning in homework. I'm going to class. I'm reading at night. I'm going over my homework again. I'm getting study partners. I'm getting tutoring. Because I kind of grew up in a cult. Those of you that don't know, grew up in a cult. And inside this, cult of Scientology, it was basically not a lot of knowledge, at least in the right direction for the children. It was a lot of, LRH is the only way. Everybody outside is weird. Everybody that is, not one of the groups, so one of the people that you see or you live with is out to get you, out to hurt you. So a lot of times you don't talk to strangers. And it basically made it hard for me to learn. And I've recently been diagnosed with autism. So that is a big part of a lot of things. I easily fester on certain topics, and then those topics are my knowledge. That's my basis. Then I went into the working world, and I got judged for being gay. And then I started thinking that everything's going to be different. Everything's going to start going my way, because I went and I decided, you know what, I'm going to be on my own for a little bit. I'm not going to reach out to friends, because I just kept getting burned. And that was a big trigger for me, because I was getting burned on the outside by friends, or at least those that would say they were my friends. And with psychology, I'm starting to understand some of the reasons that I do things, some of the reasons that I push forward. The big thing is I don't have a huge grasp on a lot of social cues, but I think I can read people relatively well, but I don't understand sarcasm. And so that's helped me in learning a little bit about myself and why I was susceptible, I guess, to believing it even when I got out, that this still worked, that this was the right way. Like, I don't believe in the cans, but I do believe in the study tech. And I kept justifying it to everybody. And then people would say, isn't it a cult? Isn't it a cult? And then people stop being your friend when you say, no, that's not how I grew up. And it's not until I actually started seeing a therapist that I actually started addressing some of the things that were causing me to feel the way that I was feeling. And when I started doing that, I realized that, hey, what happened to me here was not okay. What happened to me here, and here, that is not my fault that certain things happened. I didn't pull it in. And that to me was a huge win. And that's psychology. And I know that it's a term like, it's not really a real world term, but for me, a win for me is when my heart rate elevates, my palms get sweaty, and it's that magical feeling that you get when you're getting something. You're not just doing, certain things to get by, and I feel like I'm starting over from scratch. I'm a child again. And it's a good feeling. But at the same time, I could use everybody else. It's just me and me. I have Pearl is in the chat. Hey, Pearl. It's just me here. I don't know who's modding. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Now it's going to be a day. Okay, hold on. I see a question. Mary O. Question: will you and Carrie be able to visit Pearl Snappy and Selfless when she is closer? That is the plan. Pearl's not, she's not going to be that far. So she's going to be one of those hop, skip, and a fart. And yes, I do use that term very, very well. That term for me is, having one of my best friends within a day's drive of me sounds amazing, because then we can meet up with the puppies, we can plan, day trips, we can, do all those things. And, I've come to realize that I've never really had best friends. I've had acquaintances, because a lot of you guys know more about me. To be honest, you know more about me than some of the people in my life. Until Heather, I honestly didn't feel open to tell a lot of people that I grew up in Scientology. For me, when I woke up and realized that Scientology wasn't real, let me try to tag some of these questions real quick. Because it is just me. I do see you, Laura. I'm going to be still on, because I'm hoping that I'm going to get to talk to you. So I'll still be on. No one. Did you ever see my emails? I don't remember a no one. But I was getting, 50 to 60 emails a day, and that's a lot to go through. So I still have some that I've yet to go through, because I'm trying. It's just me, and I just gone back to school, so I'm still working on it. Okay. I see you all in the chat. Thank you so much for showing the love. Okay. Okay, so I see another question. I don't understand why it makes sense to me that if something bad is happening to me, it's because of what I did in my past. Because honestly, growing up for me, if you got punched, what'd you do to pull it in? When the babysitter decided that I was being too noisy and just walked up and gutted me in the butt and gutted me in the belly. And when I told a parent, it turned into What did you do to pull it in? When I'd go to school with black eyes, what did you do to pull that in? When I'd go to school with slings or casts, what did you do to pull that in? And I grew up with that. So by my 8th knee surgery, I'm like, what did I do to pull this in? You know, and yeah, I'm working on that, because some of the things that happened to me were not because I pulled it in. It was because someone decided that they were just not going to be kind. And they were going to take things a little too bloody far. So, as I said, I'm not going to shy away from any question, because I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. And the best way I know to say thank you, realistically, is to let you in. And thank you for me means to each and every single one of you that show up, thank you so very, very much. To those of you that protest what happened to us, thank you so very, very much. For those of you that are still courageous and out there, I know Corn's still out there. I know DOA is out there. You know, I try to watch as much DOA as I can, or at least pop in between classes or between homework. But I still have to show that man some love. Now, as for, you know, a lot of drama that's happened, here's the point. And I don't really want to comment on it, but someone sent me a message asking, you know, if I thought that we were relevant. And here's the thing. It's not just about the fact that this happened to me. It happened to Laura. It happened to Serge. It happened to Nora. You know, it happened to Liz Gale. It happened to, you know, a lot of other people that are here on YouTube, and a lot of other people, you know, that just don't want to be on YouTube anymore, or realistically don't want to be the face of a child that grew up like this, you know. But I think it's smart for all of us to cheer on everyone and say thank you. Because you know what? Each time you guys go out there, whether it's Dan Walks, whether it's Corn, whether it's Pearl, you know, whether it's any of the protesters, you're standing up for people like me that didn't have a voice when all of this was going on. And you guys help give me the courage to keep going. You guys give me the courage to really focus on me and go back to school and become an RN. And, you know, not give in to the online bullshit that happens. You know, I want to say, you know, to anyone, we're going to do this in a roundabout way because I'm not trying to start a war with anybody, but I've been in a few relationships in my life. And I can honestly tell you, I thought each of those times they were the one. That was the you know what, screw it. Jen Nelson, what is your take on the Jenna situation? Here's my honest to God take, because that's where I was going. I've been in horrible relationships. And you know what, growing up, how we grew up, we search for love. I personally was searching for love. You know, I would give someone so many chances that my self-esteem was basically in the ground. And then I would still try to tell them a little bit about myself, but not explain that I grew up in Scientology, because every time I explain that I grew up in Scientology, all of a sudden it's really, oh, you're one of them. And then they don't want to get to know me as a person. Like a lot of you in this chat have gotten to know me as a person, not as a protester, but me as a person. And people like Pearl and Heather and Summer, you know, Nora, we have all had conversations about getting to know each other as people, not as this wounded thing. But unfortunately, because I felt like this wounded thing for so long, I chose relationships that weren't the best for me. And it wasn't until I stood up and said, I've had enough of being treated like this, did I start dating people that were a little better and a little better and then a little better. And then, you know, something happened and all of a sudden they weren't as better. You know, maybe they didn't think, you know, fidelity was important, but I kind of do. I grew up watching my dad jump from wife to wife to wife. That is literally how it was. Like, you call the org and, oh, he's on his honeymoon with so-and-so. You know, year two goes by, oh, he's on his honeymoon with so-and-so. And it's a completely different name. But then he calls you, just like the previous time, about 2 weeks later, says, hey, yeah, I got married again. And da-da-da-da-da. Not realizing that that's not normal until I met, you know, really got to understand what love was. And to Jenna, I'm so very proud of you for standing up for you, and whatever you ever need. Realistically, I'm flabbergasted at your courage by your second relationship, because by my second, I still took on a lot of crap. I took on so much baggage from other people, just searching for love from just all of the wrong places. Now, am I in a completely different situation now? Yes. I'm in a loving relationship where I actually feel her love. I feel her support. I can go to her and say, you know what? I just got this amazing message from my psychologist, and I'm going to read it to you guys before I invite Heather on. I know that she's now back and starring everything for me, but I wanted to at least get out this part, and then hopefully she'll join in and we'll just continue on until Miss Laura is available. Actually, I want to answer this one. Lady Jane, question, who is your main abuser? My mom. She used to tell me on a regular basis, I'll give you something to cry about. If you keep crying, I'm going to give you something to cry about. Get your TRs in. And every time it was more painful than the previous time. I got told to grab a switch once by someone, and I would get 10 smacks on the butt from a regular stick, or I can go grab a small one and just get 5. And I was like thinking I was a genius at the time. I picked the 5, but that one leaves scars. So I realized really quickly to take the 10, because when they tell you to grab the smaller branch, don't do it. Don't do it. Liz, more like what I do in a past life. Yeah, it seems like a past life for me. I get it. Eric, I'm happy that you're back in school and doing something that interests you with your nursing. We support you. And thank you so very much, because honestly, the more I realize the things that I did in the name of Scientology and the name of this supposed religion sicken me. And there are times that it's like, I remember wrapping that celebrity's birthday presents, and it was to look like a professional did it. And I'm going to sit there and I'm going to wrap this present. And all of a sudden, I'm shooed out really quickly. And look at what I've been doing all day long. I got your presents wrapped. And all I could think of was, really? Because I'm pretty sure I just did that. But that's okay. And I didn't have support. There was no support. And now I have it. I have it from Carrie. I have it from you guys. I'm so grateful for waking up. I just saw this one. Are there, so life after Jehovah's Witness question, are there Scientologists or nurses? Not that I'm aware of, being completely honest, but I know quite a few doctors. So obviously if you get a doctor or a nurse that works in a Scientology office, what would be then recommended is that they take some courses to understand. And then once they understand, then hopefully they'll have started in Scientology. So I'm sure there are nurses out there that are Scientologists. There's not that many Scientologists that exist anymore, or at least not like it was when we were children. And they're trying to operate how they used to operate with us as children, but they're trying to do it to a new age crowd that all have cameras. And that is the benefit to the protesters, is they're catching all of the stuff that we've gone through, whether it's explaining what Celebrity Center looked like, when you walk down the hall and you pass the galley on the left, and let's not forget where you pick up your laundry, and then you keep walking, and then there's the security doors to get into HCO and Div 7 and all of the beautiful things. But it's information that it shows, that it validates, these are the things that we saw, these are the things that we witnessed, and look, it's being done in real life. And hopefully people that see it wake up. I really, really hope they do. Eric, have you thought about doing a vlog on the app Substack? I think we all want to hear and read your story about your journey from Scientology and your new life. I have not done a vlog. I've done this, and then journaled a lot, because let's be realistic. I use this place to go over what I've been through, while still at the same time expressing the new changes in my life. That is what I use this channel for, because I want to protest Scientology the right way and show people that, this is still happening. This is what's going on. But I also want to explain, this is what happened. This is what really happened to the kids, at least to me, and then each and every other person that explains their story, it's just more validation. It's not about, one person. It's about all of us. And I'm gonna say this because here, I want to pop this off real quick. I'm gonna say this because here's my honest to God opinion. We can all protest without supporting each other. Like, we can all sit there and say that we, I hate so-and-so, so-and-so hates so-and-so. Oh, don't talk to so-and-so. Don't talk to this so-and-so. But when you get to a point where you're starting to do better, at least for me, I'm doing great going to school. You know, has there been some rocky roads? Yeah, I'm going to be honest. There's some rocky roads. Like I'm realizing that, you know, things that, you know, I got to calculus, but for some reason I am not understanding algebra 2. But I'm working on it. I have never taken psychology anything in my life besides a brief class for 8 weeks that was turned into a bird course because I literally did not pay attention, and it was a pass or fail based upon showing up and participating in the groups. So yeah. But now I get to really learn it, and that's where this comes into play. I'm going to read you guys something. I had basically explained how I started a YouTube channel, and on my YouTube channel, I was going to discuss what I went through as a child so that people understood what was going on, and that I was born into Scientology and mental health was nothing good. They, you know, how they basically explain psychiatrists are out to kill you kind of thing. And I said, I want to learn psychology because I want to learn the truth. I want to learn about mental health issues because sometimes when people tell me that they have a mental health issue, I don't quite understand. And in order to really understand, I really have to take this seriously. And this is about a journey that hopefully all of you will want to be on as I learn the difference between Scientology learning and reading in school and having a learning disability and trying to be better. So I explained everything in that video. It was a short 5-minute video. So I then sent a nice little comment with it. Thank you for allowing me to really think about the reasons why I wanted to take this class. And again, it's for my psychology class. Her response: what a powerful introduction. Liz, thank you for sharing. I'm so excited you're in this class and inspired by your approach to life and class. I can only imagine how destabilizing it is to be when leaving something like Scientology, especially when one is born into it. It would be only natural to have many emotions that would leave you fearful. I love how you said in your video that you don't want to give fear any power. This is very true, as fear can have much power on you and your thoughts, your behaviors. It's all about psychology and much more. I look forward to being part of your journey with you and hearing the things that you're thinking as we work through this semester. That to me was a huge win. A huge I'm doing it. This has nothing to do with Scientology. This has everything to do with the fact that I want to do this for me, and I want to prove to myself that I can do it, and I want to be 100% honest about me going into this, and this is how I grew up. And maybe I don't understand this because we did not learn this in school. That's why I'm also loving history, because you know what, when you're learning about, you know, Christopher Columbus and all of the holidays, like I didn't know any of them until I was 10 years old. Did I know that there was a Christopher Columbus Day, that there was a Dr. Martin Luther King Day, that there was President's Day? I no clue whatsoever. And that was a big culture shock for me. And so this is going to be about my journey. So is Heather ready?
Hey, everybody.
Oh, hold on. I forgot. You said you couldn't make it, so I took out my earbud. I'm like, it's just me. It's just me.
Sorry, guys. Dealing with a literal shit show over here.
I love that you're calling it a literal shit show. I did explain a little bit, and then we'll go back to any questions that people have. You've been in the live so far. The person that I'm showing to everybody on YouTube, is that who I am? You're my friend.
Oh, 100%.
Don't lie though.
No, 100%. The only thing that's different is sometimes you swear a little bit more when not on camera. But that's about it.
But yeah, I do have a bit of a potty mouth. I do. But you know what? When it comes to a friend, I'm through thick and thin.
See?
You know, and I wanted everybody to have a chance to show you a little bit of love. So I asked you if you would join me for this, but I figure what we will also do is leave it open to any questions. If you don't want to answer something, that just take a drink of something, maybe some Pepsi.
Okay. I have a cherry Coke, and can I just say, Panda Express large size sodas are ridiculous. It's like a 2
That's the size of your head.
soda. Yeah, it's huge. So I'll be nursing this puppy for the rest of my life.
I love that. Let's kill some of these comments real quick so that way we can get on to any questions. Verity, I think you're doing so well deconstructing your past and living a new life. Considering how recently you left the cult, I admire that. Well, thank you so very much. Jen Nelson, my friend. I'm proud to say, Liz, the person is my friend. We connected through YouTube, but we transcended. Yes, we did. We absolutely did, Jen. Maureen, after seeing someone get heart at City Hall.
I think
Am I missing something?
I think it hurt at City
Hurt
Hall.
at City Hall. What Streets did to DOA could have gotten him hurt bad. It's so wrong. The amount of stuff that DOA has had to deal with boggles my mind. Because you know what? It's like he can't even take a breath before someone is trying to get guns pointed at him. And it's like, how many times do you think someone's going to be able to do that before an accident actually happens? That's why we all need to literally watch out for him. Like, go to his channel, show him some love, literally. You know, he's doing this because he wants to do this. Yeah. And he's bloody good at it.
And I can tell you from the whirlwind I've been through in the last 2 weeks, and that's just barely a snippet of what he gets day in, day out. People who give him a hard time for going up into the mountains and crying a little bit and getting it out of his system, you really need a hobby, because that's just, you just don't understand. Because I can't even imagine the pressure he's under all the time.
Right? Like, it's not a walk in the park. Not only does he have to go against Scientology, but the idea that you're going against people that used to be considered friends. And it's like, for me, once I say someone's my friend, especially since waking up from this Scientology coma that was called my life, my friends are really my friends. I'm there through thick and thin. I will let them know, anything they need to know. You want to know about me? Here's me. Blah. I'm covered in scars. I tremble at the idea of saying that out loud. But it bothers me. I one day want to get, tattoos covering my arms. Not because I'm vain, but because I'm sick of seeing them. I'm sick of seeing reminders of a time period that no one should have to remember. But I 1000% remember every punch, every burn,
And Liz, like I've told you a million times, you know, you've given half of your life, hopefully, to this cult. You deserve to be able to spend the rest of your life on what you want to do. And the fact every time that you come on this screen and talk about it and dig this stuff back up, it's a huge gift to all of us to be able to help to really try to understand more what you went through. And I want to thank you for that, because that's not something that you need to do at all.
I know, but I need to let people know what happens in those walls, but in my own way, not with conditions, not with someone telling me what I should or should not be doing. I don't need, I need friends and family. I don't need someone telling me what I'm doing is not what they think I should be doing.
I agree.
All right. Corn Freak, we had a wooden paddle on the wall, like one of those old folks people would hang, but less fun. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
My grandma was really good at the chunkla. Like, you know those previews where you see the mom and she's like throwing the chunkla and she's got the aim like a dart? Yeah. Yeah, she was good at that. She was also really good at those digs. Like, gordita. Hola, gorda. You know, and she'd say it so sweet, and it would the words would just roll off the tongue. And when you're really little and you don't speak Spanish, you don't quite understand. And then you get told by their sister, "Hey, she's calling you little fat girl. Oh, she's calling you really fat girl. Like, that's your name." And I was like, "Holy crap. That's awesome, Grandma. Thank you. You're a peach, and not the Georgia kind."
Yeah, I used to get things like, "Wow, Heather, from behind you look like the size of a normal person." Those little fun digs growing up.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Question 1. I'm sorry to cause you pain. What was your mom's childhood like? Was she a victim of abuse and COS? My mom is a first generation. She is a 8th generation Castilian Catholic. And so she started falling in love with science and less than God. And so when she went through a bitter divorce with her husband that cheated on her, she found Scientology. They got her when she was vulnerable. And she didn't graduate college because of it. I believe it was 12 units away from, I think it was a bachelor's in chemistry. And that was big in the 70s for women, you know. But yeah, she walked away for Scientology. And her childhood, I don't know what's real and what's not. I know my grandma was evil as hell, so I can only imagine what she did to, you know, her own kids. So, you know, there was a lot of emotional abuse, and I don't know about physical, but yeah. Dreamscape, where did you work and what jobs? Well, I was an EPFIC. That's the Estates Project Force in charge. And then I hear puppies too. I was a housekeeper. I was on the estates project force. I was a housekeeper. And then I was taken after housekeeping. I was taken directly and put into Celebrity Center Executive Department in Celebrity CC Network. And that is where I stayed all of my years, and went to Dex on a regular basis. But when I was given a HCO personnel title for a little while, because I was the floating bitch. Wherever I was needed, I was to go. But then my dad had come to visit and said, what's your post? And I said, floater, and got in trouble. Yeah. So hopefully that answers your questions. Questions. In Science of Survival, the book that is anti-gay, that says gays are worse than murderers. Yes. But if you're not a practicing gay, you're okay to be a Scientologist.
You're always been a professional gay.
That justification always was my main touching point, because I knew that I liked girls. I just thought I liked both, but I knew that I found girls beautiful and attractive, and, just didn't want to put a title, because the instant you put a title, then it's real. Then it's really real. Okay, Chow Young Smut. With all the challenges you faced, you're going to make a kick-ass nurse. You understand compassion and what patient needs. Here's the thing, guys. I've been in a hospital so many times that some of the best people I know are nurses or doctors, getting your arm put back into socket, your nose being smushed back in. That one tickles, guys. That one tickles. I had to learn how to do it myself because I got sick of going to an ER every single time just to get my nose.
No, thank you.
So, well, once you learn how to do it yourself, it's not that big of a deal.
I mean, I used to be able to pop my knee back in place when it would go out, and sprain my ankle in the process.
Well, I used to be able to do that until I got the cadaver patella. And then all of a sudden, when that thing goes out, it's like, you shall not pass. Yeah, and you have to go in, because the way I used to just grab the socket before and just put it back, it doesn't work. Okay. Knit Pearl. Liz, I love math. Math is about patterns. You just got to find the pattern. I'm working on it. I am working on it. I signed up for tutoring so that way I could better understand it. So I'm not willing to fall behind. I'm not willing to let myself fail. I'm so gung-ho to be a nurse that I'm going to love every second of it. Okay. Lady Jane, question. What is it for you, Liz, that gets you to trust someone? I know that's hard because a lot of people have let me down. A lot of people have, people have said that they talked to me while I was in the hospital. And then that was not true. And that made me realize what kind of a person they were. Because I know who I was on the phone with while I was in the hospital. I know who came to see me. I know who made an effort. I also am fully aware who shared with the entire group what was going on. Because again, this was a funeral going on, and I had heard some rumors that some pretty gnarly things were said about me, and I found out that someone had said, good, I hope she dies. I find some of the comments that I've received back totally appalling. And you know what, for me, I just want to get out what's going on in Scientology. I don't want to be in this mess of people pretending that they have your back when really, I can honestly tell you guys, I used to sit and talk to Natalie and Pearl on the phone, and the three of us would have conversations and we'd talk shit about Pearl, or God damn it. Pearl, Natalie, and myself would talk shit about Reese. It was to the point that we knew people going on vacation onto the boat, and they were willing to say, hey, oh my God, you're not going? I'll keep you up on all the drama that happens on the boat.
Nelly.
Is gossip fun to hear? Yeah. It's even fun to do with your friends. But here's the thing. I'm not going to pretend that I didn't do that. I made comments about someone. And I'm not going to pretend like it didn't happen and suddenly call Reese up and be like, oh my God, you're my best friend. You're like the best person in the whole world. We should talk every day and do lives together, knowing full well that I was just talking shit about her. That's what makes me different from Natalie. Because I lost a lot of respect for a lot of different reasons, but finding out that someone, and it wasn't the first time that when Barb did your live with you, I'm going to be honest with you, it wasn't the first time that I've heard someone say that Reese said she needs to come up with a new situation to get more donations.
Yeah, me either.
It wasn't the first time that I'd heard someone say that. And it was an echo through the community of, this is what this person's saying behind their wall. Stop donating. They're not really in it. They're not really willing to let what happened to the children not continue to happen. I see Gary in the chat. Hi, Liz. Well, hello, Mr. Jackson. Jackson is, I need to call you. I definitely need to call you, but Jackson has become, when I talk to him, he's like a father figure. He's like, what I wish a father would have done. And that's pick me. When we're talking, it really feels like he's there and he's listening, and he's not just brushing me off, but he's like listening to how I feel and listening to some of the pain that I went through and telling me that shouldn't have happened to you. And, I'm sorry that Bob, and I know Bob, wasn't a good dad, and we can get him out. And I just want Bob to make an effort to show that he wants out. Because I would really like for him to be free.
Same here.
I really would.
And just a side note real quick, I don't know if you saw Rika's post earlier today, but I just want to put out there, if everyone can just put out into the ether positive love and vibes for Rika's father, who's going through some medical stuff right now. As someone who just lost their dad not too long ago, I'm sending all of my love and prayers and thoughts and any positive things I can send your way, Rika. I adore you. So if you can send them your love, that would be great. They would really appreciate it. And happy birthday, Julie.
Happy birthday, Julie B. I'm glad you're here for your birthday. It is amazing. Thank you so much for coming to here for your birthday.
Enrique, I apologize if I said her. I'm trying to be so much better at that.
Hey, I'm still working on it too. I've slipped a couple times because this person had introduced themselves and said, oh no, you just call me this. And so I was calling this person this. And then all of a sudden it was, did you know that I was transgender? And I was like, I just thought your name was this. And it turned into a little bit of a, you didn't ask me my pronouns. You just asked me my name. And I'm like, yeah, because I wanted to know your name, your life experiences are yours. I'm not just going to blatantly ask a total stranger their life experiences. Like, that just feels weird to me. Like, I'm not going to assume I'm just assuming everyone's a person.
Right. Well, aliens.
Any of that. And I don't want to do anything wrong.
Well, I want everyone to feel like they're being seen as they want to be seen, and representing what they want to represent, and feel as they feel. It's like when your friend decides they want to change their name, they want to go by their middle name now, and you've called them by their first name. And it's just that trying to remember. And I'm getting old, and it's the remembering part's getting harder. But I'm trying so hard.
Nice. Mischief, comment. I'm so happy to catch you live. It's great to have you back during this time of turmoil. I also wanted to say I went back to school at 35, achieved a BA. It can be done. Absolutely. Absolutely. I truly believe that I can do this. Like, I have a 3-year goal of this is where I will be in 3 years. So, yeah. That is my goal. Lady Jane, I was so happy when Scotty talked about the drama he suffered from multiple times. He was swatted, traumatized us too. So happy he could realize and feel it. So proud of him. Absolutely. Like, you know how hard it was to honestly grow up in Scientology and not be able to talk about emotions, to not understand why you feel angry, or not understand why you feel upset, or why you just want your dad, or you just want your mom, and you're interrupting their post, and you're getting in trouble and being made to scrub stuff or peel potatoes, or go sit on a bench until you pee the bench. You have to go through all of that stuff. And we didn't have a very good grasp on emotions. And to hear people outside have this grasp on emotions and realize, oh, okay, it's not just some fluke that this is where you are on the fucking tone scale. No, this is these, and again, psychology comes into play. It's because your serotonin and your dopamine is mixing, and the scale is what makes you happy or sad, what's going on in your environment, what's going on around you. That is all combined into what's called emotions. And I'm learning that in school. And it's amazing. Because before I would have just been like, I'm a human punching bag, emotionally and physically, and I can take some pain. That's why I wasn't scared to get into fights, because I knew I could take as worst as someone could give me.
I will be standing behind Liz because I can't take a punch.
All right. Question: how have you been doing since the G block? What kind of process would you recommend? I'm doing great. Have a little bit of stuff coming up and stuff going through. But I'm also not extremely emotional, like it's almost like there's a balance, like there's a yin and a yang, and I feel great. And I feel like venting and talking about feelings and anything that comes to mind. Okay. And I love the positive life. I love that. Are you back on a daily basis, Liz? I need to know so I can set alarms because the alert doesn't work for me ever. I'm going to continue talking about my childhood. I'm going to continue doing that because you know what? It's a venting post. It's an outlet. It's how I protest what happened to me by explaining what happened to me so that children that went through the same thing know that they weren't alone. Now, I don't care if you're in Scientology or not. If you went through abuse, then you and I can connect. If you went through abusive relationship, parent, siblings, cousins, you can relate. But we can do this together as friends. And we can protest together as people all staying together. Okay. This one's a tough one. Yes. Question: Did you know many Scientologists who unalived themselves? I knew two. Very, very well. One of them took their own life at now what's called the Mama's Hotels, used to be called the Wilcox. They hung themselves, and I knew that person very, very well, and I didn't quite understand, and I just pushed down those emotions and went right back to work like it didn't happen. And then who knows if Sasha would be here if he'd gotten proper medical care. Who knows?
Sorry, Liz. I had two good friends in high school who unalived themselves. One my freshman year and one my senior year. So I understand completely.
Yep. Vicky, you survived to help others survive. A warrior. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate it. Maureen, I'm so sorry, Liz. I'm so sorry, Liz. It's so evil to say those words about you when you were in the hospital. Yeah. You know, some of the things that you hear from people that are just like, hey, yeah, by the way, so-and-so said this about you. Like, that's awesome because, cool. Like, I'm going to bring up the LP in the room. Okay. We're just going to call this person LP. The idea that so many people came forward to the point of I was being bombarded with women reaching out saying that this is going on and that they felt unsafe. And I can honestly tell you that I did say that there was a person in the community. I don't know of any police reports. I don't know of any arrests. All I know is that a bunch of women reached out and I said the best thing that I knew how to say. Go to the police. File a police report. Let them know what's going on. I will never protect someone that is doing something disgusting like what some of these people experienced. Now, again, it's what they're accusing someone of doing. And until there's a police report, that's all I can say because I'm out of it. But I think if there's a person that is saying that these people are making it up or saying that, you know what, I heard a disgusting accusation that Pearl supposedly released information.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I'm disgusted by someone that would let those words come out of their mouth, considering the fact that Pearl was doing nothing but trying to help and being a safe space for information because she knows how to be a safe space. The idea that there's a woman, let's call her Boogate, is going around talking this ridiculous garbage is just that. I don't care how much you spent on court. I don't care how much you went through. There's a couple of your videos where you're antagonizing. Is that a real word?
Mm-hmm. It is.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Okay. But you're sitting there intentionally trying to get into someone's face and pointing at them like you're trying to scare them, you know? And then you judge someone for doing the exact same thing. I'm not screaming at someone's face, but have I? Absolutely. Because I hope that maybe it wakes them up. But then at the same time, I'm also torn because I remember what it was like to be yelled at and it wasn't helping me. But at the same time, I just want them to see, or at least hear the words coming out of my mouth, that they're not alone, that I've experienced what they're going through and they're not alone. There's thousands of us out here. Thousands of us have gone through this. Out of the so many of us that have passed on, there's thousands of us that have survived this. And if we can help a child survive what we went through, then we're doing the right thing.
There's no wrong way to protest. No. You know, you may not agree with the way somebody protests, but it's not the wrong way to protest. You never know how somebody's going to come out. You're going to come across somebody that day and what message is going to get through to them, whether it's going to be the kindness, whether it's going to be yelling at them, whether it's going to be, you know, just overload of information. You never know what approach is going to work. That's why there's never a bad form of protesting. 2, Pearl deserves a much bigger thank you from this community, I think, for being the repository of that information, for if any of the victims want to go to the police. She not only has taken a lot of the brunt of accusations that aren't true, but she also had to see the proof as she was storing it. I mean, she's almost like an extra of the victim. She had to look at all that stuff and to be constantly asked about it and to be constantly, you know, berated about it. It's not okay, guys. She was seriously doing a solid for this community and for the victims. Since she has her doctorate, she has the ability to house that information so that way it can be parsed out to like law enforcement, attorneys, anything, but only that specific information can be parsed out securely when the time comes. And that's what she's done. She hasn't given anybody access. She hasn't, you know, so just those insinuations, and just leave Pearl alone about it, please. Thank you.
Right? Like, and Pearl can defend herself. But, you know, as a person that also got sent some of those egregious information, I also had to find out how to delete it permanently from my phone so that if I ever got pulled over, I wasn't charged with some kind of disgusting felony for having that shit on my phone. But at the same time, I still want to say it's an accusation until someone goes to the police.
Agreed.
Because I've been in those shoes, and let me tell you, it's an accusation until you go to the police. I do see Kelly's in the chat, and if those of you have not met Kelly, she showed up at my hospital bed. She did, because that's the kind of person she is she showed up. So I want to say thank you. And thank you for doing it because you wanted to get to know me. You know, not because, you know, I'm a second gen. I don't want anybody to be my friend just because I'm a second gen. I want them to be my friend because they want to get to know me. They want to be kind. They want to have a good day. They want to be open and honest about everything that happened in their life and move forward openly and honestly, fine. But I don't want anybody in my life that treats women horribly. I don't want someone in my life that treats people like they're dogs. I don't want someone in my life that berates women and thinks it's funny.
Or anyone.
You know, I want to do this for the right reasons, guys. I want us to really do this for the right reasons, because you want to hear our stories and you want to get to know us as people, not just the victims we were, but the courage that we have to sometimes suck up so that we can express what happened to us as children. Because sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's really painful, guys. The first 9 years of my life, I remember like it was yesterday. Well, at least 3 to 9. I remember like it was yesterday. I remember a lot of the bad times like it was yesterday.
Now you're safe. And you have Carrie. And you have
Yep.
us. And all
Absolutely.
of that, you made it through. And it made all of those things, as horrible as they are, they made you who you are today. And they brought you on the path to find Carrie.
Yeah. Because I finally have someone that loves me and that sees the long term, that knows that we're growing old together and that no matter what, I'm going to be a better person and I'm going to be the best that I can be. And, you know, did you meet any Scientology celebrities growing up? Yeah. I can't remember his name, but I will always know him as Bud Bundy. Met him.
David Fasciano, some of that.
Yeah, I remember the first time I met him. I used to sneak and watch All My Children.
Married with Children?
Married with Children. I used to sneak and watch it occasionally when my aunt would come to visit, and I would just like lean around the corner because my mom told me that was garbage TV and I wasn't to watch it.
She wasn't
And
wrong.
so I would lean and lean and lean, and then, you know, all of a sudden I'd start recognizing, oh, that's Kelly. Oh, that's Bud. Oh, that's Peggy. You know, and yeah, I met him. Met Tom Cruise multiple times.
Sorry.
He's short and he's a dick. Met John Travolta multiple times. Kirstie Alley. Yay. She just yay. I met Jenna Elfman and Bodie Elfman. That was actually a treat for me because, you know, I thought she was super, super nice. Like super nice. And I thought he was a goofball. Yes, I saw Kelly's comment back. T. Perth is in the house. Hello.
Hey.
All right. I think we have 2 questions. Let me grab those. Okay. Do gay Sea Org members get treated worse than straight ones? Yeah, you'd be in the RPF. Like, you could ask Nara. Like, she was just, you know, she didn't even do actual gay, like, I mean, kissing a girl is kind of gay. But let's be real. How many straight women can honestly say that they kissed a girl? Go ahead and throw 1 in the comments, because let's be realistic. For some reason, you know, straight women love kissing their female friends. It's so weird. So weird. But we have, you know, it's not that big of a deal. But if you were to be thought of as gay or perform gay acts on someone, yeah, you're going to the RPF. And that's exactly what happened to Nora. And so I always believed, and I would keep repeating to myself, even when that question came up in the sec check, I kept repeating to myself, not a practicing gay, not a practicing gay, not a practicing gay, not a practicing gay, not a practicing gay. And when she would say, what's that thought right there? I would say, oh, I remember time. And I would confess every sexual experience that I'd had. And I would keep going and keep going and keep going until she said, thank you so much. Your needle's floating. just kept doing it. And then she'd go back to the question and I'd still be floating from her saying the needle's floating. Because let's be real, you're not allowed to stop and go to the bathroom. You have to start over if you have to stop. So you keep going. Okay. Barb, I usually miss live shows, just popping out of lurk mode to say hi to you all. Way to go, Liz, on your new life. Happy birthday, Julie. Well, happy birthday. Okay. Oh, see, we have one. We have ones in the comments.
It's like I always used to joke. Everyone likes a pair of boobs. Women like them. Straight men like them. Gay men like them. Everyone likes boobs.
Yeah, I met Juliette Lewis 3 times. And her voice is... She is sweet, but don't be around her when she is in a bad mood. But during oh God, what was that movie? Natural Born Killers.
I love that movie.
She was stinky. She was very stinky, like au naturel, stinky. I can't do it anymore. I can't deal with stinky. That is one thing that has been burned into me from the Sea Org, is because you were only allowed, the deodorant that you were allowed was non-scented. So a lot of times some of these people would smell very musky because, it's not like if it'd be a hot day out and they had to go work, I know I got musky and I would get the deodorant that didn't smell, but after a week of not showering or only getting a 5-minute shower, how clean do you get with a 5-minute shower? But I can't deal with the BO smells. It's become a pet peeve for me.
I went to school in Boulder in the 90s. I understand.
But I will say this. At school, there's a couple of the kids that you can tell, they believe in the au naturel, and you know what? Whatever you want to believe it. But there's been a couple of times where I'm just like,
I'll be on the other side of the class. Thanks.
Like, I'm gonna go sit in the front of the class.
Teacher, can we have a window?
What is? I don't understand that part of these newer generations. Like, I thought kids wanted to take showers, but no, it's like the greasier they look, the better. It's like all of a sudden girls are hitting on them when the greasier they look, and I'm just like, you can tell that their hair's not washed. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, I am old. I'm old. I'm old. I'm officially old. I've become that person that's like, oh, you need to wash your hair, young whippersnapper.
You kids with your Beach Boy rock and roll music.
Right? Like, there was someone in the psychology class kept listening to, and don't get me wrong, I love Limp Bizkit. Love me some Limp Bizkit. But when I'm trying to learn psychology, I'm not going to have an earbud in my ear listening to Limp Bizkit break shit. Because think you better shit. I think you better quit letting shit slip, or you'll be leaving with a fat lip. Yeah, that part comes on, and I'm just like, totally missed what the teacher was saying for that second. So I had to zone out. Yeah, why? Why do kids need to listen to music while they're in class?
I can't even listen to music while I'm working. I can put like a TV show or a YouTube video that can be background noise, but if I know the words to the song, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, I'm like,
just think you better quit. But yeah, it has been one of these great experiences where it's like going back to school has been amazing. It's literally been so monumental because I'm learning so much. I'm learning what I can do. I'm learning not to put a limit on the psychology, not trying to, not understand it, but actually really listen. And I can't wait to go home and tell Carrie about it. I can't wait to explain things to people about what I'm learning. I can't wait to be like, oh my God, I learned this today. I got it. Like, I understood. Like the letter from my from my, actual professor. It was like, yeah, they're not all evil. They're not. Okay. Okay.
And it's really cool to see like the village you have around you of people that can help in different areas. Like, like on Saturday, I'm over taking apart my vacuum and Liz calls, "Can I talk to Tom for a second?" Sure, here's Tom. Because Tom has multiple degrees in history and political science. And she's like, "I have some questions."
Yeah, because I wasn't getting it. The amendments, I'll be honest, guys, they're kicking my butt a little bit because I'm just like, what? And what? And when? And why did that happen? And then, and for what?
The amendments themselves aren't that hard. It's the sneaky stuff that's going on in the background that is either causing the amendments to happen or that are happening in spite of the amendment to kind of get around the amendment in some cases.
To give you guys an example, like I'm learning a lot about how the indigenous Americans had lost so much, well, indigenous people had lost so much of their land. And it blows my mind just how many people actually set them up to take them off their land and put them on a reservation. And then if that reservation flourished, they'd had them moved again to another area. Or if they didn't like you, like the indigenous people that they wanted to have die off, they would put you in an even less desirable area so that you could not hunt, you could not grow crops. And that to me is like, what? And this happened? Like,
later on.
How horrible.
Later on in the 20th century, what is the name of the newest Scorsese movie? Killers of the Flower Moon. You should watch that. It's a fantastic movie. But it literally is about a tribe of Native Americans in, I believe, Oklahoma in like the 20s. And, they are insanely rich because the reservation where they were placed had oil. And so they were getting all of the money for the oil. But because they were Native Americans, they each, like every landowner had to have a white sponsor.
A sponsor
that helped them.
Yeah, we're learning about sponsors.
And and then what would happen is that those Native American landowners would, oh, look, they're dead. Weird. And look, they married a white person. Oh, guess who gets all their land? Weird. They're all related to the main guy in town. Weird. How does that work? It's just pure insanity. Like, just the hatefulness of humans. It's just, and
But then it also doesn't surprise me because growing up, how I grew up, there was so much hate. There was hate for everybody that was outside of our walls. Like even when our family came to visit, things were treated hush hush. Like it wasn't like they didn't get, they knew they were driving into Coltville, knew they were going into this area that had just was being a succubus for siphoning money off of people. Like that's how my Nana believed that Scientology was, is that they would just suck money out of anybody. Well, it turns out to be true. Absolutely. Elderly people are being tricked out of money as you speak. As you sit here listening to me, elderly people are being talked out of money. So, and this is money that they need to survive. This is money that they need for their medications, for food, all in the name of, oh, hold the cans just one more time. Oh, let's get out those overts and withholds. Oh, let's get you clear. Let's get you this. Let's get you that. And we just need, now that we have like an idea of this is what's happening, now we can do the right thing, guys. And we can save these people from going in and let them know what happens. And so they don't get swindled. And then maybe in this lifetime, we can free the children and we can make it where if someone wants to practice Scientology, that they can do that in a smaller area. But they're going to do that with the knowledge that this is fake. All eyes are open. You guys are being treated as basically cash cows. Nobody cares about you inside Scientology. These celebrities that keep coming forward and saying, "Oh, I got all these wins. Oh, I'm OT what? Oh, I believe in aliens. Oh, we launched out of a volcano." Like, come on. The fact that I believe that after having a little bit of therapy behind me and then doing a little bit of psychology, I'm like, it's the misfiring of neurons. My synapses is overloaded. I got hit a lot. And unfortunately, because of that, maybe that's why I believed it for so long.
You believed it for so long because that's how you were raised and that was your reality. Just
Correct.
like I was raised United Methodist, and was my reality. And that's why you believed it so long. You're not.
Yep.
I mean,
Oh. Let's see if she's ready. Let's see if we've got a surprise for everyone in the chat. The one, the only, the amazing, the talented and beautiful.
That's too much.
Hey, we got to do it better because I figured, I was originally planning on just sitting there complimenting everybody and thanking everybody for all that they've done for us and all that they've helped us with and helping and being there to support us as we go through our emotional ups and downs, as we have good days and bad days, and they're still with us.
Yeah.
And then they realize that we don't all have to support each other, but let's be honest about it. I may not support certain people, but you know what? They can go do that over there. It doesn't mean they have to have any part of my space here.
Yeah. And you don't have to think about it. You don't have to talk about it. You just go, "Oh, I just do my own thing."
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I totally get what you mean.
Like the fact that you keep going live and showing that beautiful view, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to go to sleep listening to that view.
I love that. I love that more people are starting to get that. That was the whole thing. I'm like, God, this is so like even when I'm at work or even when I go somewhere on tour or something, like I'm always like, I'm gonna take this time and like share it in as many ways as I can and enjoy it, but also like create something out of it or do something. So I love being able to be at work and I love like my boss is like, "Oh, cool. Oh, good. You're going to live stream." And he's like, "Oh, like I told him a lot of people watch it that are like out in other states or like it's freezing cold." I'm like, "Bob, look, you have this like amazing." What?
That's me.
Oh, I thought you were telling me I'm muted or something.
No. I said, that's me. I'm in a freezing place watching going.
So, yeah, it's like, oh, it kind of reminds the brain to just like, it's about the mind and like being, I don't know. It's just really cool because you're right there with nature and you could be snowing outside and all of a sudden you just see the sun coming up and it's fun. It feels good to be able to share that. So yeah, I just love that. I love even if I'm doing something, I find many ways to be kind of creative in it.
Heck yeah. And you're a rock star.
Yeah.
Why aren't you streaming this?
Because you were already like doing like an hour and 20 minutes in. So I wanted to just keep learning from you.
Well, what did you think?
I love it. I feel that you're going, don't you want to keep answering more questions like about the things that you've learned?
Absolutely.
You were just talking about the native, and then I was like, okay, I got here, and I was like, okay, set up the computer, and then that's where I was at.
So Native Americans are being pushed out, white settlers coming in, and then not only are these white settlers coming in, that they're marrying off to these women, and then miraculously, these women that got the land or these families that got the...
Liz, do you want me to stream to my audience?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me do it really quick because this is actually very interesting and I can just literally be like learning and loving with Liz and Heather. Well, Liz Ferris, since it's your channel, right?
Yeah,
Yep, but
I can drop and be in the background if you guys want me to.
you want to start questions?
Yeah.
No, because Heather, you also, or whatever you want, but Heather, you have a lot of knowledge, so you also
Yeah,
ask
you give us
you give
information
us,
on
like,
history.
lead. Yeah, exactly. You're being our teacher as well here. Okay, hold on, Laura. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna do this really quick. I just have to focus, otherwise I'll forget everything I'm doing. Boom. Okay, I'll say learning and loving with Liz and friends.
Yep.
Liz Ferris, because I just did a Liz Gale recently. Liz Ferris.
I did see that.
Oh, good.
And she's in the chat.
Oh, cute. Liz Ferris and friends. Okay, good. Learning and loving with Liz Ferris and friends. Boom. I'll just write, come say hi for now. Come say hi and teach us something.
Right?
Because we love learning.
Okay. So here's
Oh, wait,
hold
I'm
on.
gonna sorry. I want oops. There.
There it goes.
Okay, now we're in. Hi guys. Sorry, I'm jumping on Liz's stream, and I wanted to share with my audience as well because I am literally learning. We're learning and loving and
Laura.
and Liz and Laura and Heather and whoever else joins us and teach us the truth and history. But
Right?
so yeah, that's what I like. I like learning. I've always wanted to be I want to start mushing myself into these live streams where people are learning, and Liz has been going to school and learning all these fun things, and I love learning her perspective of what she's learning as she's going, because not only is it obviously it's information that will be held because somebody important is teaching me or telling it because they've been learning it, but also because I get to learn, and it inspires me maybe to also as well go to school and do that for myself. So it's fun to watch Liz do it.
Absolutely. Yeah,
And that was part of
so
the
far
thing.
it's-
We said we were gonna do fun little learning and Laura, learning with Liz and Laura, learning and loving with Liz and Laura.
right. And don't be an L. Liz and Laura. Don't be a square and be there.
Yeah, don't be a square, just be a Laura Anderson supporter. LA.
Okay, so we left off at they're marrying off for the
talking
land.
But we're gonna now, people are probably wondering where Liz is now telling us what she is learning in history, right? Correct. And can we start from the beginning of just that part of like what you were saying? She's been learning a lot in school, but specifically when I jumped in here, we were talking about what? Go ahead.
The
Sorry.
indigenous people, how they were taken off of their thousands and hundreds of thousands of acres of land and moved to a small area. And basically, this small area would be like a parcel of just the smallest land compared to what they used to have. Areas of hunting, gathering, crops. Their families had been there for generations. Everything, they're moved to this other section. And if they refuse to move, they're shot and killed. Like literally just whole villages plowed over. And so I'm reading this and I'm just like, geez, like this happened? And I just keep reading. And it's like, then the gold rush comes and families are offered parcels of land that they can work as slave labor. So just like what's going on in Scientology, slave labor, working the lands, but they don't really own it. Someone else owns it, or they have to get a white person to sponsor them so they can get it. And then if something happens to them, then that white person gets it and they die. And that indigenous person is killed.
Wow.
And it's like, we're learning about all of that. And I'm just like,
yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah. Wish I'd learned it in school.
I'm surprised. Wait, so you said you're learning about all that, but I'm surprised that they're even teaching that, right, in the schools.
Well, they'll teach that in higher education. Like, I don't remember learning a lot about that besides, like the high points, low points, let's be honest, like the Trail of Tears or things like that, like the big monumental pieces of it, but like the nuance of what was happening and like a lot of the post Civil War that Liz was going through at the beginning of her class that, I was helping her with. I learned a bunch of things that I was never taught, just about sneaky ways that politicians, they would be put out these laws to make everyone equal, but then they would have these little sneaky things behind the scenes that were like, okay, well, maybe not, maybe we'll do it this way and that way, and we'll agree to it, says this state, if you pull all of your your people, all of the people that are here trying to reconstruct after the Civil War out of the state. It's just very interesting. It's heartbreaking but interesting, and that's why history is so important, so we can actually learn about these things so we don't repeat the same mistakes over and over and over again.
Yeah. And like psychology, like, okay, so before we go to psychology, because the stuff I'm learning in psychology, how many times, okay, no, we're doing it. How many times did you get told as a kid, get your TRs in?
Almost every day, at least once or twice or whenever, maybe 5 times in 30 minutes. But it was just part of like, oh, did you grab your keys? Oh, did you get your wallet? Hey, get your TRs in. It was just kind of like, hey, knock it off.
Nonchalantly, yeah.
Yeah.
So I never really understood what emotions were. Like when I would get angry, I would just be like, I'm doing something to pull it in, up until a couple of years ago. I really felt like I was pulling in this anger. Like I was pulling in all the bad things that had happened. I was somehow pulling it in. And I'm learning in psychology that your environment plays a large portion of what goes on in your brain. Like your environment, the serotonin, the dopamine, all of those, what levels those are at, that's what helps control your emotions in your synapses of your brain. Is all of this combination combined, plus the firing of neurons and electrons and
as you say it, it sounds like I'm like, yeah, like that sounds normal. And then I'm like, oh, wait, no, we never learned that. It sounds normal, but nobody ever taught that. Like, oh, that would make sense. I'm kind of going, okay, cool. Yeah. But then I'm like, oh, wait, nobody ever taught us this. It just makes sense now.
Someone,
cool.
So Life After Jehovah's Witness asked, does the tone scale work for some Scientologists? It's a fear device. It's a piece of paper that's more of a fear device. Like if you 1-1 is you're homosexual, that means that you're a covert hostility, that you're going to stab someone in the back the first chance you get. Well, let's be realistic, guys. That's just called a sociopath. But, people that'll sit there and stab you in the back for no apparent reason, this tone scale is not real. They're just really shitty people. Just saying, in my opinion.
I also would say that some, they asked, what was that last question?
Does the tone scale work for some Scientologists?
So does the tone scale work? No. For some Scientologists, yes, because they believe and they've all agreed that this is the technology that L. Ron Hubbard says you must follow and apply. And if you don't, so yes, if a Scientologist is seeing another Scientologist and they're like, applying the same thing, it's like, well, Liz, if at this time we're gonna drink this water when you say this word, and then when that word is said, we're both drinking water, we're both acting the same way. So yeah, the Scientologists is the same thing. They're gonna use the tone scale against anybody, up or down, if you want to get them, enthusiastic and get them out of their downtone anger or sadness or whatever it is. They use a certain technique or a certain method.
Yeah. Hey, let me drop off for just a second. I'll be right back. Give me just a minute.
Okay, great.
There was a question.
And so I've been learning, just kidding. Now we'll be able to ask Heather questions.
There's actually 2 questions for you in here. The first one's from Mommers. Laura, can you tell us what happened with the young person you talked to a couple days ago at Big Blue?
So I had seen the older lady that I ended up talking to for a while, who you guys I'm sure also have seen. Before that, I was watching her, but then I also started while Witch Share and her were talking a bit. I noticed a little girl was like walking up the sidewalk, and I was like, oh, okay. I kind of just turned my camera off, like just to the front of the blue. And then I know I was on the other side of the street, so I kind of was like, I had this holding this sign that said kids can't consent in yellow and black, and I was just yelling, this is not okay. Let children be children. Stop forcing children how to do their art and how to live and think. Stop making them do training community. And I did this because I saw in the corner of my eye that she had stopped and was just standing there, like staring at me, like kind of listening to what I was saying. So I was just saying whatever I was saying. I just knew, and I started walking. Oh, I went across, where the driveway is. I started walking kind of closer to her. And then as I was walking her, I said, oh, I was like, you don't have to be afraid of me. I was like, hi, how are you? And then she was like, oh, I'm good. I just was wondering if it was okay if I should go in there. And then I was like, I immediately was just like, oh my God, I love you. You're so sweet. I said, no, I was just saying, well, I was born and raised in this. I was doing things your age, like working really hard, being told. I was like, are you doing training routine, and training drills? And she was like, yes. I forget exactly what I said, but I basically was trying to be in her shoes, telling her basically I wasn't trying to scare her. I was like, oh no, I'm not trying to scare you at all. I was like, I love you. You're so sweet. I basically just was like, I don't know what else to say other than, to an 8-year-old or 10-year-old, like, I'm sorry, you have another choice. I was like, I know you don't know that now, but I was your age when I was, in this group in the organization, and I just felt bad for her. I was like, I was like, I wanted to plant a seed quickly without crossing a line, because her parents are her parents. I'm not her parent. You know what I mean? Like, she is a minor. And then I knew I had moved my camera so she wasn't even on the screen. But so, and I wanted to just genuinely be so sweet to her. Like, hey, as a big sister, like, if your bigger sister was telling you this, like, hey, I know you're probably being told, how to act or what, how to behave and stuff like that, and TRs, and you can't talk about this. And, I said, they changed, I said, once you're in long enough, they're going to start keeping track of everything you're doing, how you're acting, what art you're doing, what songs you want to write, how you write them, who you hang out with, your friends. And I said, it just gets so controlly and you think something's wrong with you. Anyways, so in the end, I was just kind of basically like, you can go in. I'm like, you have to go in because your dad or your mom, I was like, your mom or your dad is probably in there, making you do this. And then she said, she was like, yeah. And then I was like, okay, well, at least And then I just kind of didn't want to say too much or scare her with too much information either. And so, and then I saw her come out later with her dad. And that was very annoying and triggering. And I told them, I was like, it's okay to listen to what I said and to not follow all the Scientology rules and to be yourself and like what you like. And
Love who
I,
you want to love.
and then I said, I think to the dad, I think I said, like, you need to be aware of what you're doing to your daughter. I was in this, like, my father's in there. He won't, like, I forget what I said, but it was very emotional. I was emotional. And like I said, it's emotional, but then it becomes therapeutic. It's like therapeutic, emotional, therapeutic.
Kelly says, I think that conversation will prove later to have a huge influence in her life. Hard shit to navigate, Laura. You did it really well. The older woman is probably a lost cause, but that kiddo, cry face.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
You probably just literally gave her a memory that showed that we're not these evil people that they want to say that we are. We're
Yeah.
literally the product of
she
what
was-
they made us.
Yeah, and she was like looking at me in the eye, and I was like, "It's okay." And I was like, "You know what? Go do." I was like, "You exactly, Fox." I was like, "Go." I was like, "You have to go do your thing," but I was like, "At least though, like, just be aware of it." I said, "You're gonna have to follow the rules until you're old enough," but just I don't even know what I said. I just felt so bad.
Yeah.
I just was like, "This is the fuck how they're doing it."
Right.
This is what child trafficking is. The parents get involved. The parents are doing this and they don't realize it, because how great is it if your parent is in the organization on course and guess what? Doesn't have to get a babysitter or anything, because he's also doing, and look, now he's talking to mom better, even though you were fighting and things like that, like the dad then is lying to the mom that they've gotten a divorce from recently and is saying, oh, we're going to communication, just tell your mom we're going to communication classes, and like, oh good, you're learning how to communicate, oh cool, like, so it's not a big deal. So even the mother doesn't really know. It's always a covert way of the parent being very covert to the kid, to the child, hiding things specifically from them, knowing exactly what direction their whole life is going in.
Yeah.
You don't separate like, oh, okay, I'm just going to be a Scientologist for 1 week of the year. No, this is not your
No.
fucking choice. No.
No, it's who you are all entirely. It's an all or nothing kind of thing. And
Yeah.
it wasn't until I realized that I was doing that, I was justifying that I was able to walk away. I was justifying the shit that I went through, or the shit that I'd seen or experienced, or maybe the cans didn't catch that I was the gay.
The cans were going to catch him? The
Yeah,
cans were
'cause
going to catch the
don't
gay?
you remember this? Well, I don't know if every org has a sec check. But
No, they
Celebrity Center
definitely
has
do.
it.
No, I'm kidding. I was just being funny, meaning like the cans were going to come out and catch the gay out of you.
Yeah.
I keep
Oh, okay.
telling her, Laura, she
Sarcasm.
was never a practicing gay. She's always been a professional gay.
Oh yeah, I was listening to you talk about that. That shit happened all the time. Like, it's somehow excuse it in the moment. It's so fucking weird, but in the end, if you're quote gay, right? They hold this over you the whole time you're going up the bridge, right? Just imagine, like, okay, you're allowed to go off and be sort of whatever gay, but when you're coming in to do a course, you're not completely clear, so it's they kind of allow the gayness, but like they just say it's aberrated, but once you learn that it's aberrated, then you'll start working on it. So, but we'll allow you in while you're doing the basics, because you kind of just don't really know exactly, because if you did know, you would stop because it's so aberrated.
Yeah.
And so it really just makes me so fucking annoyed, because there were so many people who were like, not actively gay, what do you call it, or not
Practicing.
not practicing gayness, or you're not like that would mean you're not having thoughts about, you're not practicing it in
you
any
had the
way.
thoughts, but you had to go write up your OWs
Yes.
in your own room in your journal, and then sit there and be
Not a
like,
journal. It was overts
but
and
word it
withholds.
correctly. I called it a journal. I wrote my overts and withholds in my journal. I would do them on myself when
You
I
did
felt like I
time,
wasn't
place,
doing
form, and
them.
event.
Hmm.
Wow, in the journal. I guess that did become the norm. It would be like, oh, if I'm writing bad things, I might as well just write the overts.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
I-
crazy.
I would get old school books and do school during the summer, and I thought I was crazy, but that's pretty.
What do you
That's
mean
pretty.
you would school?
I
Like
I
you would
love school
math
so much.
problems?
When I was in elementary school, I would literally they would like throw away like the old books that they weren't using. I would take one of each home,
Oh, and
and I
just
would
do
like
them.
literally read through the book and do the schoolwork the
Wow.
summertime.
I kind of like that. I think I had something like that when I found like a easy to do like a like multiplication thing for kids or something. I was like, oh, let's see if I can do this.
Hey. Yeah. Hold on.
And now
Someone just
Liz is actually doing it.
Melody Hargrove. Question, Liz, has the study techniques you learned in Scientology helped you now in school? No, because I realized that the study techniques were all BS. So proud of you for going after your dreams. A lot of it is just look up your word. Like it's literally someone else created the study tech. Let's be realistic, guys. This isn't Scientology. This was stolen from a group of people that were actually working on trying to, tell you to look up a word. It's not it he didn't copyright the dictionary. Okay, I promise. He didn't copyright the dictionary. He just had his own dictionary that we had to follow.
Yeah, the tech dictionary, the ethics dictionary.
Yep. And those were our compasses to live by. And that's what we had as dictionaries.
Yeah.
So getting a real dictionary by a real company, because was it Thorndike and Bernhardt? I still have that dictionary because let me tell you, it has nothing to do with Scientology. There's not one Scientology word in it, and it's beautiful. And until
And
Carrie
why
tells me
would
to
they
Google
let
it.
us use the I know it was in a policy or something, but I wonder why L. Ron Hubbard let us use Webster Young, the Young Webster's dictionary?
Yeah.
Like why
I'm
weren't
curious why he picked that one.
why was that out of all the non-Scientology dictionaries, he was
The
like, "Oh,
Webster's?
the
Yes.
Webster's dictionary was like."
That was what we had in element. That was like the standard like
Oh, okay, so
dictionary that
maybe they
everyone
were
would go
trying
to.
to look semi-official. So they were like, "Okay, well, I guess this is the one that has all the actual words of the English language, so to speak."
Mm-hmm.
Which no, there wouldn't be. Just the younger words. Just the basics.
Just
And even the
there
basics,
wouldn't
we were like,
be.
"Oh, we're going to the big dictionary. We're
Mm-hmm.
going to the Webster's, not the Young Webster's, the Webster's dictionary."
Remember when
Yep.
you
You could
actually had to
always
go
find a
to an
dictionary.
encyclopedia? My grandparents here in this house had a huge encyclopedia, and whenever I had to do schoolwork and I didn't want to go to a library, I would just come over here and use their encyclopedia before the internet.
Ooh. Do you think learning is something gene wise, like it's do you think that it's a brain or a biology thing, like within a gene, within the genes of a family, that there are smarter or people that hold more information or something,
I don't
and
think
it can like run through the family line or something?
I honestly think it's just you have to find something that you're passionate to learn about. And then even if let's say your IQ isn't the highest, if you're passionate about something, you will know it inside and out.
Yeah.
And you will search for the information. You'll,
But I think there's specifically something though that some people specifically have, like I think yourself, where you are passionate, of course, about your information, but like you also search and adventure out and find things that give you that passion to find out what that thing is about.
yeah, I've
So you're
always
constantly reading and learning.
I've always gone down rabbit holes, but as I've gotten older, it's hilarious trying to see Liz and I, who both did advanced math at a younger age than normal. So we were good at math when we were young, trying to remember algebra 2 like 20 something years later. It's hilarious because what? Like,
Yeah.
when have I ever had to use this in the last 20 years? Are you kidding me?
I definitely never got that far. So I was like, well, there you go, Liz. Boom.
But
And it literally looks like gibberish.
Well, I feel like do you know what algebra 1 is? I don't know what that is. I don't think I do.
algebra 1 is just like basic, it's just pretty much basic arithmetic and formulas when you're trying to solve for variables. So like x equals 2y plus 4.
Wait,
and you're
I
trying to
seriously, I'm sorry, Heather. I heard solubles and then I started looking at Liz.
That's
My
her book.
brain, I was like, stop wasting her time. My brain is really not listening. There was I must have gone by 5 misunderstood words. And this isn't helping either.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
Liz, where do you begin? Like,
Foil.
what
First-
happened to like 4 plus 4 and 5? You know what I mean?
Right? It's no longer that. It now has letters. No, it's always had letters. But it's basically we have to get down the closest to X. We have to solve for Y. You have to be able to graph it
X
so you can put it on a
meaning
graph.
10?
No,
no
X
x
meaning go ahead.
whatever it is. So like 4 plus 5 equals x. You would solve it as 4 plus 5 is 9. So that way you know that x equals 9 because they equal each other on either side of the equal sign.
So
then
X is a guess to figure out what it is.
Right.
Yep.
And what were all the other numbers?
Different variables. You have to figure out what they are.
Oh,
and it
God.
gets harder and harder.
So it's
Yep.
you're just finding ways to learn the basic thing more complicated.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Pretty much.
I hope that's helpful in the future.
It has been so far. I mean, it definitely taught me I needed a tutor for math. And it literally taught me that, I am loving psychology. I'm loving sign language. Like I'm trying to get faster at it. I'm trying to understand it a lot more. So that's fun. So I'm learning about history and things that we should have learned about the proper way. Like, no, people weren't just taken off their land. They were assassinated, Then you have, industries used to have, another part is industries used to have like 100 people building engines. Okay. So let's say it was General Motors. So there would be 100 different people, each of them building one individual motor. Okay. And so each of those people would turn in a motor at the end of the day. And so they went from making 100 motors a day to assigning tasks for each of those 100 people and building the motor so that they can put out 1,000 a day.
Wow.
And so then it kept expanding, and then people became less when they started inventing machines that could do a lot of these jobs. And so advancements in society has made huge impacts and changes.
But yeah, that's so cool. And I always feel like, don't you think there's always, we always say, oh, we're going to run out of jobs, but somebody has to run all the machines and the robots and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A computer like that has someone like Pearl behind it.
Yeah.
Well, it would be someone like Pearl designing an algorithm, and that algorithm then controls the computer, which tells the machines what to build and when to stop. And so now it's all math. And sometimes the math doesn't math in my head, and I'm trying to make it math.
And that helps you.
It helps me understand what we've been through, because when people sit there and tell me, we're just repeating history. Look at, we're mass deportations.
No, I mean in terms of
I'm
the
like,
math. In terms of math.
Like In terms of math, it
Yeah.
wasn't mathing originally. That's why I got a tutor.
No, I mean like in terms of what would math help you like in the future with?
With chemistry, it'll help me with the chemical formulas in nursing school.
Okay.
Also medication levels when you have to deliver certain medications to
Okay.
patients.
Yeah.
You have to know math wise, like the body
Yeah.
weighs this much. This is the medication that it's for this body type, for this weight, for this
Okay.
blood pressure.
Good.
And then you have to understand why the machine is selecting certain things.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
Wow.
I would get anything Miss Pearl would create. Same.
right?
But like, you know, I see the thing with me in school was like I loved math and science because it was always like a puzzle that I needed to figure out the pattern. And like once I figured out the puzzle, I was like, aha, I get it, you know. And then history was just a really big book. It was like a huge story. And that's how I always like looked at it, was like the people that lived it were characters, and but you know, as you get older, you realize that there were a lot of pages missing out of the history that we were taught, a lot of chapters. And that's what you learn once you get to college, is those missing chapters, and then you become even more appalled. But I've been trying to learn Korean for the better part of a year and a half, and I do not know why I cannot wrap my brain around any of it. It's just eluding me completely.
It's similar to algebra. An L means this, and this line means this and that, but you can't say all of this unless it's actually about this type of situation. Then you say,
Yep.
Nahudama.
Well, Korean's even harder because it's not just learning one language, because there's different levels of like politeness
Yeah.
that you have to
That's
learn.
the sign language it is. So I knew there was a sign language community. Okay. But did you know that there's ethics inside of not Scientology? There's ethics inside sign language, like certain mannerisms, like spelling certain things. You can spell your name, but it's like impolite to spell out words that you don't remember the sign to. Unless it's like one word, it's considered disrespectful if you're just signing the whole time.
Wow.
I apologize
and then
for
there's
my past disrespect.
I'm the same way. When I found that out, I was like, oh, I didn't know. You know how many times I've spelled out words like when I've met people, because I'm just like, oh, I know the alphabet. I know how to count. I can tell you how much change you're getting.
Yeah.
Oh, someone is saying, Laura, it's OT 420 time.
I'm learning and loving and smoking my ganja.
It's Friday, everybody. It is Friday.
I wouldn't care what fucking day it was.
True. So how was your day?
My day was busy. It was long but busy, but I handled it very well.
Good.
I was a little disappointed with some results, but with court and stuff, but I thought, you know what? Like, this is one of the smallest of our problems. You know what I mean? And then I also was thinking, like, come on, one day you would, like, I was thinking, would we rather have had Josiah win, and I was like, I would have rather had Josiah win. So
Right.
I don't know. I feel like there's a win always, and we can always move forward in the right direction. Things happen, and we just got to keep moving forward.
Yeah, because I know Pearl's excited to show her discovery, and that's what she was waiting for her court stuff to end so that she could show her discovery.
Yeah, I wanna hear all about that.
Right? I want to hear about all the videos that were taken and all the shit that was being said.
Yeah, it's really amazing to see what kind of crap Scientology pulls. The phone calls, you start hearing their attitudes of how they're talking to certain people and the cops and you know what I mean? And it's like so nice to be like, this makes sense now. This is why they came out like this. Or, oh, this is why they were trying to say I was aggressive, or they were trying to instigate me to do something, anything at all. So yeah, it's really refreshing to basically pull the fucking little criminal behaviors of these people who repeat the same actions over, and you're sitting there like protesting, like, come on, this is nobody else but fucking Scientology or somebody in Scientology doing this. So it's very
Yep.
nice to, it feels that, you know, it's just like learning history. Scientology is like when you protesting Scientology in any way, shape, or form, talking about it on the computer, being out there, however it is, right? Protesting Scientology is like when we're filling in the blanks, it's like we're finally like, oh my God, there's so and so. Okay, there's still a Scientologist. Oh my God, I saw my dad. Okay, he ignored me. Now I know he won't look when I, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you at least are getting answers from things that you would have never gotten had you never fucking done anything.
Right.
And the whole community is always at certain points, certain pockets, inspiring and helping us, or helping you, or helping us, or helping me when I feel like, oh, I don't need it, or, you know, and then when I'm energized up, I can help other people. Like, it just feels like there's always a balance of somebody to help somebody, and helping is not an issue. It's just being genuine and being like straightforward with what you want and what you need. And then also just reciprocating, like, oh, okay, this is how certain people feel about this. What's going on, Liz? You're getting the wobbly eyes.
I'm getting the
Like,
wobbly
the
eyes.
dogs are coming in. I heard the dogs
No,
are coming in.
yeah, the dog just came in. Come here, Smokey. Say hi.
I was gonna say too, you know, I've heard a lot lately about how everyone needs to be a protester and an activist from some people.
Great.
And I'm not a
Great.
protester. I'm a supporter. Like, the channel Cultology is there to help highlight people that maybe don't have
Also, I don't know who said that, but that's completely fucking false. Like, you don't need a protest at all if you don't want to, and your actions is already protesting Scientology. Like, what do people call protesting? It's so judgmental and fucking rude when you're literally saying what somebody's doing wrong or right about protesting,
right.
and you're not doing it yourself. Like, go out and do it, or go be behind the computer and do it, and shut the fuck up. Like, I'm so sick of that. Like everybody protesting is your energy against, your resistance against Scientology. That is protesting. Holding a sign outside is protesting. Being behind a computer and getting legal documents done is protesting.
And where my talent is trying to get the word out for some people for support, trying to make a safe space for people to take kind of a woosa break and have fun playing games, and doing all like the visual, like the audio visual and designs and stuff to help support the people that I care about in the community. And that's how I support and help. And yeah.
And not only that, Heather, this sounds silly, but when you play the games, we learn things. And sometimes it's fun to just learn something quickly through a fun game instead of having to go, oh, I didn't go to school. Can you explain that? It's so annoying. So then you have to privately go Google it and take the time to learn it when you're just doing it right there in a game. Why not? And the channel supports the, you know, protesting and the anti-Scientology movement. So it's like, great, good. Fuck yeah.
Thanks, Laura.
And you have a live tomorrow.
We do. We have game night on a Saturday night. I'm so excited.
So Liz,
Well,
so you're
yes.
they put you when you go to school, when you're going to school, do they already kind of like, you would know, like a tip or a program? Do they show you all the things you're going to be learning?
So in the classes, you get a syllabus, and in that syllabus, it tells you. So the syllabus is like a list of projects that are due, the due date, how many points you're getting for that project, and again, when it's due. It says it right, clear as day.
Yeah.
And then you just go through and you read those chapters. And so that's how I was learning all the stuff about the indigenous people. That's how I was learning so much about emotions aren't just a tone scale, or aren't just you making emotions up or making feelings up. They're literally a firing of serotonin, dopamine, your environment, and everything else that goes together with your serotonin and all that good stuff.
I love it. I feel very strong. I mean, you started off with the native stuff, and I feel very strong to the native people. I feel very much I can't tell people this. I used to always, I've said this a lot in my previous, even my beginning stories of YouTube, where my mother told me I was part native Indian, Canadian native Indian, and I was like, excuse me. I just felt so fucking annoyed that my mom, I always get emotional, but I was like, what? I was so like brokenhearted that she just, what the fuck? What else don't I know about myself? Like, I just couldn't believe that and the way that she told me was we were sitting down at this like old school freaking diner downtown. Everybody knows what it is, but I don't care what it is. I forget what it's called right now. But she was like, oh, let's go there. So we go. And I had this long feather, this metal feather. It was like a metal chain with a feather in the end, and then like peacock, like not peacock, but blonde peacock feathers. And she said, oh yeah, she was like being so sweet. I always feel like, was that manipulation or was that love? But she was being very sweet and like playing like with my hair. And she's like, oh, you look so cute and your dark eyebrows and your feather. And she said, just like your native great grandfather. And then as she was correcting herself, she was like, wait, it would be your great. And I was like, Mom, I was like, what do you mean? She was like, yeah, she was like, so I'm 1/8, or if I'm a 1/4, that would mean you're 1/8. And like, she was like, I was just like, everything she was doing, I was just like, why didn't I ever know about this? How do you know math? What are you talking about when you say 1/4, 1/8? What the hell? I've never heard my mom speak in math like as if she had some degree in math. And I realized, oh, she did go to school. Like there was just so many things where I was just like, I didn't know that Indian Nate, like that people had high cheekbones and dark eyebrows. I didn't know these features. Like it was just like, oh, this is like, and then she showed me a picture later before I got declared an SP. She showed me a picture. I have it somewhere, an old photo of my great grandfather. And he's
Awesome.
pure like native Canadian Indian.
It's amazing.
Pretty badass. And I just cried. I was like, this is silly, but I was like, that's where I get my cheekbone. We have these high, big cheekbones here and our big, bushy, dark eyebrows. And just the
I'm like, I got like little stuff.
No, but it was so empty. My heart felt so empty of like something that should have been full. And it made me aware of how empty that part of my heart was. You know? Hi.
Hey, Tom.
I have to.
You know
I have
what?
to jump off to help finish getting everything back to normal after the Teddy Poo explosion.
Okay. Love you.
But I'll be on the back
Heather.
starring when I
Thank
can.
you.
I love you both.
Okay.
I love everyone in the chat. Bye.
Bye.
But like other thing, Carrie has this ability to be able to confront something and want the truth, and the courage that she has to do that, it makes me want to question so much of the things that we were told as kids. Like, I want to know, like, is that a burn from the fire pit, or is that because your thumb went through my side, or is it why did I have to get a skin graft, and then at the same time it's like I'm in such a good place emotionally. I don't care why the little scars happen and the big scars happen. I just care that we do better moving forward. And
Yeah.
then,
Well, I feel a little bit that way with if the person that was part of the abuse or whatever is actually just moving forward in the direction of, you know, doing something to fix them, like to do something for themselves, to be better as a person for themselves. If I don't see them, if I don't see that in somebody, I can't give them any energy.
yeah,
I feel like if you're not going to get it, then never will anything like this work. Like you have to be getting, I don't know. Yeah, that's just how it is for me. I feel like you have to get what the thing that was being done wasn't okay, why it wasn't okay, how much involvement you had or didn't have in it, who was hiding shit, things like that. And that makes things, I feel like, heal or be better when you can actually just, because it makes other people go, okay, it answers that, it fills in that like void. It doesn't make somebody go, oh yeah, they were such a great person, oh but over here they were also fucking treating me like shit. You know what I mean? Like if you're open on both ends, like, yeah, when I was at this post, I was a bitch to everybody and da 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 da, and I wasn't allowed to as part of the policies. And here at this, I don't know, it's accountability and just being transparent. I feel like there never needs to be a reason of like not being clear, especially about something that was just our casual work or schedule, you know, as crimes
yeah,
inside, you know what I mean? Like inside of the Sea
well,
Org.
it's like now I had seen my mom the other day. I talked to her for a little bit and she was hurting, and Carrie let me know that my mom was hurting. And Carrie was really worried. And I was like, I just see my mom. It's okay. But then all of a sudden, Carrie's worry made me worried. And so I
Right.
went to go check on my mom, and she was just sleeping. And all I could think of is she's not that person anymore. And I need to let that go. I need to stop holding that against her. She's not that
Uh,
person anymore. And
huh.
I stood there for a second, and then I walked back into the room, and I meant to tell Carrie, but then we started talking about something else. And it was like, it doesn't matter why that happened. I don't need
That's so
an answer as to
interesting.
why, but
Yeah.
the fact that
No,
she
I
supports
totally
me
get
now.
that.
I mean, she supports me in taking a psychology class, but she's like, just know it's like bullshit.
I can't even fathom how I see it, but I'm just like, I don't understand how, like how she goes about her day, other than the fact that, yes, I do believe that psychiatry overdose, like they definitely overprescribe and all that. So it's like they have this excuse, which all of a sudden makes it 100% correct, you
Yeah, it
know?
makes everything that was
Other
ever
than that
said.
brainwashed view, I guess I just can't see them like, but don't you, like somebody like your mother who it was, like you said, so into science, don't you like follow it all the way through and then you realize, well, this is kind of bullshit. This is kind of a money scheme. It's a good one, but it's kind of
Well,
a
I tried
money
to
scheme.
tell her about Xenu, and that just turned into a catastrophe.
What's your mom's OT level again?
She's clear.
She's clear.
Yeah.
Wow. She's not even OT.
But I tried to tell her about Xenu, and she was like, you're just listening to black PR propaganda. And all I could
I
do is
can't
laugh because
imagine.
I'm so grateful that I didn't get to the Xenu believing in phase, you know?
Are you sure you don't like, at work, here and there every once in a while being like, what if I'm wrong about all of this? And they're right.
Well, to be honest, have I thought about that? Yeah. But then at the same time, then people tell me the world's not flat, and I go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's round.
I
And
know.
it's
And it's
not
also
just
okay to
the
have
blue
different
buildings.
views and ideas.
Yeah, and it's like, and we all have different life experiences. We all, I have someone that helps me deal with emotions when I honestly was an angry person. Like when I was angry, and people ask me, why I don't drink, and it's because I got angry, and I did something that went against all my moral compass and treated Carrie like garbage and put a hole in the wall like a child, and have no memory of it because I'm also on antidepressants. And but I know it happened, and I know that there was fear in her eyes. And so I'll never touch another drink again, because for me, I didn't know how to process emotions, and I process all my emotions now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not the person that I was. I'm becoming the person that I've always dreamed of being.
Yeah.
That if someone said help me, I'm going to hit them with kindness. I'm going to hit them with who I really am. And yes, I was brought up in Scientology, but I am not a Scientologist.
I got a PhD in Scientology, but I know nothing about science or technology.
That's right. Carrie
Oh,
told me
let
the
me
other day, because I
go
was
get my
I was
little vape. I'll be right back.
okay. So everybody, I was using my phone the other day, and I was talking to Heather or Pearl on FaceTime, and I was trying to show them the laundry room was all cleaned up, and show them all that. And Carrie's like, why don't you push the button that shows what you're seeing on camera? And I was like, what? And she had to show me that there's a button that turns my camera around while I'm on FaceTime.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, we learn every day.
Yep. I know that I honestly didn't know how to operate quite a few things in my phone. And now
Same.
that college is online, I'm having to operate a lot more websites, get to know a lot more things, find out that tutoring was not going to cost anything, but books are ridiculous now. But then at the same time, you have something where you can actually hold it in your hand, and you can go back and forth through it and say, oh, okay, I don't get this, I get this, I don't get this, I get this.
I can't believe it. It feels so strange. Wow.
It's my history book.
Wow.
I'm loving it. I'm loving learning about it.
I love that. Doesn't it feel good to put it on the shelf and be like, I'm reading that?
Mm-hmm.
Like your
And
actual books are actual meaningful.
yeah, but it's still funny because I was looking something up in the dictionary the other day, and Carrie goes, why don't you use Google? And I'm like, because the answer is in the dictionary. And she's like, the answer is also on Google. And I'm like,
Do you think it's it is a visual? I'm a visual person. So like if I see it, I'll remember it forever. It's like my brain connects a visual and then I can remember it. Do you think it's something where like digital is like electric? So if it's not paper and ink, then your brain doesn't grasp it as well. I don't know, just because of the way that we were so separated from electronics and digital internet and all that and computers. I don't know.
yeah, it was, you don't realize, like, I can perform on a DOS menu. I know how to do like all the special functions to get it to type, to get it to space. Like, I can do some DOS.
Yeah.
But some of the things that the computers do nowadays, I'm like, okay, it's official. I'm old. I've been out for this long, and I haven't taught myself certain things. Like,
Have you
or am
tried
I
the
just not
chat
remembering it?
GPT that people were talking
Yeah,
about?
Pearl recommended the Chat GPT, so then I started looking at Chat GPT, and if
And
I get stumped on a math problem, it'll show me how to do it.
is that bad or good?
No, it's good because again, it'll walk you through it if you ask it to,
Uh-huh.
and so it's like we're
You don't have to get like the
I don't have to
supervisor
get super
over your
stressed out,
shoulder. Yeah, yeah. Waiting
you
while there's
know?
500 other kids needing help.
Yeah, and you're just sitting there like, "I don't
You're like,
understand," or,
hi, I
"Hey,
don't even,
come
yeah.
check my clay model. I have to go to the bathroom, so I'd really like you to come check my clay model."
Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Flunk.
Right?
Flunk. Oh my God. Just when you think you're going to pass, you're like, oh God, I forgot the overall label. Flunk.
And then it's like flunk, and then you gotta start all over, and you're
And
like,
you're
"Okay,
like
here we
fucking
go."
holding your hand up, waiting for 20 more minutes until the supervisor. Okay. Oh my God. Well, that's really cool, Liz. That's so cool. So, do you feel like, so you're learning? Obviously, you have a community through many people that help, that you can call up or be like, hey, I need help with this math problem. And they're all smart and they can help. That's
Mhm.
really, that in itself is very important.
Absolutely. I mean, the amount of people in the community that don't judge when we say, "Hey, that I didn't learn that in school," or, "Hey, I didn't know how to read until 4th grade," you know?
Yeah.
I knew how to look up every word in the dictionary, but I didn't know how to read it, so,
Yeah.
you know?
Exactly. And I feel
But I'm
like
really good at manual labor.
yeah. And keeping your TRs in and confronting things and just
Mhm.
getting it done.
Yeah.
Um, but I just love that. I feel like it's also allowing us the thing that we never got as a child and we're giving it to ourselves. Right? I
Yeah,
feel like
having
that's how,
unconditional love, it's like giving ourselves unconditional love,
but even
and
teaching us something because we are like, you're learning, you're going to school, you're learning this because you want to learn it. It's not because your mom's like, hey, Liz, I really think you should be going to nursing school.
oh, no, I 'cause I wanna do it. I wanna have this future where I can look at Carrie and say, "Let's take a vacation," you
Yeah.
know? "Let's" you know, "Let's do this. I need something better." And it's time that I did this for also me,
Yeah. That's what I mean.
to
It
let me
feels
know I
good.
can do it because it feels like although it's only been 5 years, it feels like Scientology was a lifetime ago,
Yeah.
but
But
it's
but
only
then when
been
you
5
talk
years for me.
and when you talk about stuff though, it feels very up close. It feels very like it didn't happen that long ago or it's still happening.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I wonder if we fill our time with other things like learning new things and all that. By filling it, it doesn't make it so fearful because we actually have more information to the fear. I feel like fear is like not knowing or being afraid of something that might happen that you can't control. But like if all of a sudden you know and you can control things, you're kind of like you start to lose that fear a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah. I the fear I'm not willing 'cause for me, if I don't pass psychology, it's like I feel like Scientology won, if
Oh
that
my
makes sense,
God.
and I'm not willing to let
That's a
that happen.
heavy burden though. I mean, unless, it's super easy. What if it's like really hard?
It is hard. It is hard, and I love that it's hard,
Yeah.
but it's hard for the right reasons because 'cause I'm actually learning that it's neurons firing. I'm learning that it's your environment. I'm learning that it's also genetics,
Yeah.
you know? I'm learning that it's not just, you know, some bad shit happened and we have to take responsibility for it because we pulled it in. We did something to pull it in.
Yeah.
That's not even true, you know?
Right. Right.
And I'm learning that it's like, it was okay for me to be upset as a kid. It was okay for me to be hurt. It was
Yes.
okay for me to want to see my parents.
Yes.
And it was okay that I didn't learn to read until I was in 4th grade. You
Yeah.
know, I just happened to be really good at sports.
Yeah.
And that saved my butt many a times, I'm pretty sure. Because right now, I don't know if it's because of the medication I'm on or because of anything else, but I feel like I finally get a fresh start in learning the right ways. And I can't wait till I get to graduate nursing school and then I, get to stand there in the cap and gown and
Yeah.
get to get a picture with Carrie. I can't wait for that day.
Yeah. And all the knowledge you're gonna have.
All of it. Like I'm going to be able to help people that have
Mhm.
been through our situations, like help people that have been abused or been hurt or been
Yeah.
mistreated. I'm going to be able to help them. And that to me is the greatest goal.
I love that. That's so good, Liz. I'm so proud of you. I love learning and hearing the little things that even you just tell me. Tonight, I've already learned a lot from you, but it's inspiring, not even just to me, but for other people to be like, okay, cool. There's still a possibility that it'll actually not be hard. It'll be adventurous and fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's work. Don't get me wrong, because like
I mean, it won't just be hard. It'll be
Yeah.
hard, but we can get through that. But it also is fun because we get to have information and we get to learn what we want to learn.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it is getting late. I know that
Nope,
we
that
need
was
to.
perfect. You need to go get some beauty sleep for all the learning you've been doing.
Well, actually, I didn't know this was going to be this long. I was hoping, I wouldn't start going in about my childhood, but I'm going to read some of my history, and all my homework is already finished. So now I'm just reading it for fun.
Wow.
So I'm reading ahead for fun.
That's amazing. So you're literally doing what Heather was just saying. Like, I used to grab old books and be like, oh, now I'm just doing it because I learned it.
Yeah, I want to learn it. I want to learn what happens next. I want to learn, like, it like, who needs to have some of our memories when I can have memories of, what really happened in the world, so
Yeah.
that I can understand better, government, and not,
Yeah.
think that they're just a bunch of vultures that are trying to hurt you, even
Yeah.
though they kind of are.
But you'll find
But
it.
at the same time, yeah,
Yeah.
got to find all the key points. So the same way we always start this is the same way that I will end it, and that is also with the amazing Laura FM.
So now